Can you retire on $500,000? It's a fair question, but the real issue isn't that number. It's what happens when things go sideways and real life shows up. And that's what I want to walk through today. People want certainty. They want a formula that balances out and tells them that everything is going to be fine. And I understand that instinct. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, but that's just not how life works. By the end of this video, you'll know what kind of monthly retirement paycheck $500,000 can reasonably support. Before anyone decides whether retirement is realistic, they want to know one thing. What can $500,000 actually pay me each month? Let's look at a realistic case. Married couple, both age 65, and they've saved $500,000. No pension, and we're assuming Social Security for both begins at full retirement age, which for them is age 67. And that means their combined benefit's going to be $3,000 per month or $36,000 per year in today's dollars. And that Social Security income is doing the real work in the background. What they're trying to understand is how much additional income the portfolio can reasonably support on top of that. Under fairly prudent assumptions, the result is a total retirement paycheck of roughly $4,700 per month if they're willing to adjust spending when conditions change. So when we talk about spending capacity here, we're talking about a total retirement paycheck of roughly $4,700 a month with Social Security starting at full retirement age and providing $3,000 of that income. Now let's ground that monthly income in a real spending scenario. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, households headed by somebody age 65 or older spend on average $61,000 per year. That works out to roughly $5,100 per month, and embedded in that number is something we'll come back to in a moment. That's average monthly healthcare spending, which is about $650 per month for retirees. Even if you own your home outright and have no mortgage, those numbers still include things like property taxes, insurance, utilities, ongoing maintenance and repairs, food, transportation, and all the other everyday essentials. So when you compare a $4,700 a month retirement paycheck to a government-reported baseline of about $5,100, the margin is already pretty thin. And this is where we need to be very clear about planning models. They are not predictors of reality. They are forecasts that are built on a ton of assumptions. Markets won't behave on a schedule, health is not going to follow averages, and spending won't stay smooth. Life won't unfold neatly. A model can illustrate what may be possible. It can't promise that everything will be fine. The more uncertainty someone tries to force into a plan, the more rigid that plan becomes. And rigid plans have a greater risk of breaking. Before we go any further, we have to talk about health, because this is where many retirement income plans come undone. How healthy are you today? What does your family health history look like? It's important to think about your health span, not just your lifespan. Healthcare costs derail retirement plans fast. And earlier, we saw that average retirees are already spending around $650 per month on healthcare alone. Now, let's look at that in the big picture a bit. According to Fidelity Investments, a 65-year-old retiring today can expect to spend about $172,500 on healthcare and medical expenses over the course of retirement, and that's in today's dollars. But remember, we're talking about a total savings balance of $500,000 today. And that figure does not include long-term care, which can be very expensive. So before we even start to talk about travel, hobbies, and discretionary spending, a meaningful portion of that nest egg is already spoken for by healthcare costs alone. And healthcare isn't a smooth monthly expense. It's lumpy, it's unpredictable, and it tends to rise as flexibility declines. That's why when we talk about a retirement paycheck of $4,700 a month, even with $3,000 from Social Security, the number still has to cover everything. Now we come to another fundamental question. What does retirement actually mean to you? Does it mean never working again? Or does it mean having control over whether you work? Most retirees today have some type of part-time work, often not because they need to, but because it helps them transition into this next stage of life. They want some structure, purpose, connection, and maybe a couple bucks in their pocket. And the difference between needing to work and choosing to work is everything. That difference often determines whether a plan feels manageable or restrictive. And these issues don't disappear with more money. Whether somebody has $500,000, $2 million, or more, they still face uncertainty around health, longevity, markets, and identity shifts. Money increases the margin, but it doesn't eliminate the emotional side of retirement. And this is why so many people want to wait to target a larger balance later. But retirement isn't a number, And it's not a destination either. It's a process of transition. And transitions require space and flexibility, not absolute certainty. So can you retire on $500,000? The honest answer isn't just about a willingness to adapt to a different lifestyle. It also depends upon what you actually need to live the kind of life that you're looking forward to. If your spending is below the national average and that level of spending supports a lifestyle that feels meaningful and satisfying to you, then yes, $500,000 may be enough. If it doesn't, there are only a few real levers that you can pull. One option is part-time work, not just to earn more, but to do it on a schedule that fits the life that you want. Another option is to delay retirement to see if your savings can grow further. But there's a real risk with that. For many people in this situation, there simply isn't enough excess income to meaningfully add to the portfolio any longer. Large new contributions aren't realistic. That means the markets end up driving the outcome. And markets don't cooperate on demand. If markets decline and you're already close to the edge, delaying can actually leave you in a worse position than before. And there's no plan that solves this situation. You can make a model look like it works, but that often just masks the underlying reality. What you can control is far more limited, but also far more important. You can control what you spend. You can control how your assets are allocated. And you can control how willing you are to adjust spending when markets move against you. That's it. Retirement planning isn't about optimization. It's about trade-offs, judgment, and knowing your options as conditions change. So can you retire on $500,000? Depends on your needs, your flexibility, and your willingness to adjust as life unfolds. That is the real answer.